Hello, TheSuffolkRam here from Round Nerds. Welcome to my review of episode 6, series 9 of Doctor Who, The Woman Who Lived. So, as I say, all my episodes, there will be minor spoilers ahead, so you don't think spoiled, turn off now. So, Woman Who Lived is effectively actually more of a sequel than a second part of a two-parter to last week's episode, The Girl Who Died, and it's following on from what happened to Ashilda from last week's episode and sort of seeing where she is. So the actions move forward to sort of 1600s sort of London time of highwaymen, and Doctor encounters a highwayman called the Nightmare, who we pretty quickly within the cold open discovers actually Ashilda and what she's basically doing now for hijinks. Makes me think very similar to the character from the one of the previous Doctor Who episodes. I think Dead. Remember, I didn't look it up before I started this. One of David Tennant's specials. Character who's quite well off, basically just doing hijinks for the fun of it. The episode itself is an exploration of the concept of immortality and a curse, and how much of a curse it could really be. Obviously, immortality has been brushed on before in Doctor Who. Most famously, obviously, in the news version, is with Captain Jack Harkness, and Captain Harkness basically sort of very much brushed over the whole downside to immortality, although he spoke about a few bad things throughout through his appearances. Generally speaking, it was brushed over how in fact living forever isn't really going to be. It didn't really come up as much as a curse. They've completely changed it. This one they really properly explore what it's like and the bad sides of immortality and how crushing it is and how it changes your outlook on life. And the whole episode basically is a premise of adjusting Ashilda, or how she calls herself now, me, adjusting her viewpoint as it sort of changed and corrupted from her from when she first became mortal to present day, as it were, seeing how it affects her. And I was glad for Doctor Who to explore something different. Now, obviously, other series have done this in the past. It's not a fresh idea, but Doctor Who has never really explored it. And I felt they did a very effective job. They spent a good probably sort of half the episode looking into how she's developed over the years, what she's done, and some things that have happened to her. Some quite tragic things that have happened to her, some quite funny things that happened to her. It's all relatively light-hearted. The main crux of the episode is she's looking for this amulet to basically try and sort of move on to a different dimension with the help of the alien of the week. And that's all the sort of driving sort of MacGuffin throughout the episode is that they've got to steal this amulet, then what they're going to do with the amulet, what happens with the amulet at the very end. But that's really just there as a plot device to allow this exposition to occur. I thought it did it fairly well. I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was very nicely done. It's a Clara-free episode. Clara is not available for this episode, so we've got to see a Doctor working with Maisie Williams more, and that was a very nice partnership going on. The way the banter between them was very well done. I liked it and it worked well. As it's quite a light-hearted episode, although it has got some serious parts to it, and the way the amulet works is also quite in quite a dark way, which is basically, you can tell it comes from a tortured writer, which we'll discuss later. So overall, the episode I thought was really good. Really enjoyed it, and it was nice to sequel, and it was nice to show some of the consequences of Doctor's actions. Because he had a habit of just coming in, doing stuff, and then fleeting off. And occasionally, they've done in the past, they've followed up episodes. This time, however, it was quite good how they were to follow up and do it and see his actions again and what it meant for the world. So, did really enjoy the episode. So Maisie Williams returns again as Ashilda, although she's actually playing that character. She's changed her name to Me for the purpose of this episode, and she's playing a fairly similar character, fairly different character. Whereas last episode character was had a very sort of nice worldview, was very sort of idyllic worldview of the world around her, and sort of her dreaming and thinking what could happen and sort of trying to sort of explore her imagination. This character's basically seen large chunks of the world, seen tragedy, and has sort of slightly tarnished her. And she plays it up well. I mean, even within the first sort of few minutes, you get the idea this isn't the same character we met last week. and she has developed. And it's nice that they've done this sort of development in it, whereas other characters like Captain Jack, when he was memoirs, were basically, despite the fact some horrible things happened, he got buried in the ground for hundreds and hundreds of years, and basically his personality never changed, apart from being a little bit shook up from the whole thing. And so it's nice to have an episode where they've actually developed it, and she does a very good job of portraying it. Her and banter with Peter Capaldi works really well together. Really nice. I really like the way they bounce off each other. It's quite funny banter. Turns quite serious later on, but works really, really well. The other sort of main sort of guest star, although it doesn't appear till quite late on, is Rufus Hound playing Sam Swift. He's obviously, being a comedian, has obviously the funny moments, and he's only really basically in two major scenes, both which are quite biggish scenes, but both are quite funny. Particularly towards the end, he's sort of the climax of the episode, and he also gets to have a little banter with the Doctor, which works quite well. And there's some good jokes about banter and puns, so it brings a bit of lightheartedness, which you always do when you have a comedian in the series. Apart from last year's Robert Show, had Dan Miller. Not Dan Miller, that's from the chap from The Thick of It, because I've been watching The Thick of It. I've forgotten his name, but I thought he played a serious character. Didn't work last year. Someone tell me in the comments what his name was. The character he played. He played the sheriff in Robert Sherwood, and I can't remember the comedian's name. Something like, no, it wasn't Armstrong. Anyway, moving on. Rufus Hound did an excellent job. Like I said, there's no class episode, so we're going to see it briefly at the end, which is quite nice. It's nice to have a bit of a different dynamic. And they really beat us the main two characters in the episode, so there's not really much else. It's actually, in some ways, quite a bottle episode, despite the fact that it's not stuck in the TARDIS. Very small characters to work with, but works really nicely. And I said most of the characters I did enjoy watching as well. Production-wise, written by a lady called Catherine Tringena. I hope I pronounced that name right. And she has not written Doctor Who before, but she's written some Torchwood episodes. Never really got into Torchwood. I watched them, but never quite liked them. I thought they'd gone on the route of being too dark, and we can be dark now, let's go really dark, but sort of in a really sort of, let's make like all the people die kind of way. It sort of felt very Playboyish, but that's a different discussion for another day. She wrote a few episodes of that one, and I can't say the episodes she wrote off of that were pretty brilliant, but this one I said was done very well. The actual sort of sets wise, it's really nice again because it's set in sort of a medieval, ancient times. Not a great deal of special effects in it. Nice prosthetics in it. The main bad guy has some excellent prosthetics. I don't want to reveal too much about what he's actually like. It's revealed quite early what he looks like. I thought his prosthetics were very good, and even showing that it's not the first time we've seen this, without giving too much away, this type of prosthetic, but it shows amazing how much it's developed from the last time. I'll give you such a little hint. The last time we saw prosthetics like this was back in season 2 of Doctor Who with David Tennant, one of the very first episodes, early episodes in fact. That'll give you a slight hint what I'm referring to. And it's amazing how they developed just in those intermediate years, how things have changed. Really quite neat. There is a special effect of revolving fire, particularly with him. Unfortunately, it doesn't work very well, and basically involves breathing fire, and never works when people breathe fire. Always looks very odd because they sort of move and have to sort of stay still, and it's very static and doesn't really work, that special effect. It always looks very fake and not. It's just a effect that doesn't work in any series I've ever seen it in. To make it work, you have to have a very sort of fluid motion. It just doesn't look very realistic, unfortunately. Some nice effects later on, but otherwise a relatively okay episode. But looks really neat. The sets, obviously done. A lot of it done. Looks like done on location, which obviously how does it, and the medieval village type sets looked really good. Or I suppose we're sort of Middle Ages still. Yeah, just about. Really neat episode. So that production wise, felt very good. Brilliant. So far, I thought The Woman Who Died. I really liked it. It was nice to have an episode that's more focused on the aftermath of the Doctor's actions rather than, bang bang poo poo shooting everything. And the actual monster of the week was more of a backdrop to allow exploration of this whole psychology, and I thought that worked very well. Really enjoyed the episode. Brilliant, guys. I have to say, this is keeping on brilliantly. I can't fault this series so far. It just carries on, gets better and better and better. Let's hope they keep it up. Next week we have the Zygons returning. Downside is that it's written by the chap who Kill the Moon last year, although he's worked with Stephen Moffat, so I haven't got high hopes, but you never know, perhaps it'll surprise me. So thank you everybody for watching up in the Suffolk Ram. Hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, please by all means subscribe to the channel. We do have things on here, we do have videos and so forth when we sort of get around to making them. Unfortunately, we all work pretty large and it's very hard to get them made, but we put them up as soon as we can. So please subscribe, please follow us. I look forward to seeing the next ones. If you're in the UK, remember the clocks go back tonight, so I hope you enjoy your extra hour in bed. So thank you much for watching. I've been TheSuffolkRam. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.